I feel like I always have to comment on the weather when I start on these, so it's overcast, and there's a little bit of different coloring to the lighting, I guess, today. But here we are, 4:30, as we do, as you know, as it goes. February 14th. And Sean Beeman, how are you doing?
Howdy, brother.
I think that's like record time of us actually getting the internet going and connected. I can dig it. We're getting used to this. We're halfway through, and we're chugging along. How you been? How you doing? Saw you earlier today. We were inspecting the truck
Yes.
as it sits. I noticed that a couple of our stickers, after like 3.5 years in outdoors in the sun and rain and snow and all kinds of weather systems and stuff, are starting to peel. But thankfully, due to the wizards at Sticker Wizards, who provided the decals, we got more than enough to keep going for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truck looks great and terrible in all the best ways.
Yeah, we were talking about how I got to figure out a day to kind of just do a little bit of work on it. We got some paint finally peeling off of the camper shell, and that's just what happens when it's outside. It's an older shell. It's probably at least 30 years old, based on the model of truck that it is meant for. And so that'll be something I'll figure out. I'll make an event out of it. Just live, like it'll be like, we'll do like spacewalks, where it's like, it'll just be me out there like, hello. All right, yeah, today we're good. Socketing. Oh, there goes my wrench. Why is my wrench flying? Oh, someone's throwing it at me.
I think you should have more of a Bob Ross feel more than anything.
Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be working with power tools, and we're going to be using the belt grinder today.
People will listen to that.
We're going to be grinding down. Nothing says calmness like grinding down metal, amplified. Just sparks flying. Oh, we had a fun encounter very brief fun encounter at my complex. The truck is parked out in a general parking area and gets moved from time to time, but most of the time it's sitting in the lot. And what I think is really funny is I know some of the neighbors have taken notice, and some of the neighbors notice when it's missing, like when it's out of state. They'll be like, "What happened to your car?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's being shipped back." And while we were chilling and talking and stuff, the good segue coming up here, a gentleman walked by, parked his car, and was like, "Is that your car?" We were like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, I was wondering whose it was." And he kept going. And it's like people take notice of it. I think it's really neat. I feel like it's got to be pretty funny. I feel like it's a little more approachable than having like a Batmobile parked in your parking lot, or
No hate, no hate, no hate.
No, nothing wrong with it.
No hate to the Batmobile guy. We know that guy. You gotta be careful.
I don't want Robert Pattinson coming after me, to the new one. But
where is he?
Where's the truck? Where's the pizza?
Where's the pizza?
30 minutes ago, and it's not here. What are you doing?
I told them to make it snappy, Master Wayne. I don't want to fail the Waynes anymore.
Pizza. One of the things I think that was a dead giveaway to the person in the parking lot who was passing by that it was in fact our car is the shirt I was wearing. I was prepped early, 4 hours early, and I was wearing our based on
looking like a good old chosen one.
Our little comfy shirt from our show sponsor, Chosen One Apparel. They have really fun and great pop culture themed apparel of all kinds, unisex, and nice fitted shirts, comfy shirts that feel kind of broken in but not old. Is just pure comfort.
Yeah, and I'm a good, I'm a solid 10, 15 washes into mine, and it's looking good. So
yeah, we got so working out with them. So if you want to visit their site, thechosen1wan.com, shoot them an order, and if you want to put anything in the notes, tell them you heard about it through us, and that'd be great.
Yeah.
We also have a couple other things lined up soon that you'll probably see on social media. We have, if you are in need of sunglasses, stay tuned to the social media, and we'll have some coupon codes dropping for you. Thank you for commenting on my Michael Caine impression. I practiced.
Who was it? I couldn't even tell.
Oh, you didn't tell. Sorry, it kind of went into
Michael,
like
you got to keep on saying it until you get it. We've covered it. You want to get into Michael Caine, you just got to keep on saying his name, baby.
Michael Caine. I like the thing with the Michael Caine. My favorite thing is there's a clip online of a show called The Trip, and it's Steve Coogan, and I forgot the other actor's name. And they're sitting at a table and they're just riffing off of each other, doing different versions of Michael Caine. And there's actually a very funny analysis where they talk about how when he's younger, he's really like higher pitched, it's nasally, it's a little higher volume, and as he gets older, and they say because of cigars and brandy, kind of drops. And it's very funny to watch. I don't think I do it any justice, so I would say look up that clip. I might even put it in the show notes for you guys to have a look at. But yeah, I think that's when it comes to news. I think we covered last week. Covered Turning Red. D23 Expo stuff is coming up.
We're trying to be involved. So
we're trying to figure out some kind of way to get back there. I realize it's been 7 years. It's scaring me, like the dates where I'm just like, oh yeah, that was 10 years ago.
I think it's the right time though. Like we kind of touched on it when we talked. With Lightyear being the next thing in production right now with them, and what they're going to be pushing out next, which I'm sure everything's in post production at this point. And, and they're just wrapping it up. But I mean, like the panels that'll be there will be very.
Toy Story adjacent. I think like
needy for us to get sink our teeth into.
Yeah, I feel like they would do like some kind of making up, or like maybe just like they would do a panel explaining the connection of Lightyear to, to 25 years of like kind of the Toy Story universe kind of thing. I don't know. I was cracking open a papaya and preparing to like mark on the tree, going, it is time.
Well, like dude, for real, it feels like that. I mean, we're all big fans of the Buzz Lightyear animated series, the animated movie that they came out with, and everything. It was phenomenal. Yeah, like I'm talking like cartoon Star Wars-esque phenomenal. It was great, good stuff.
World building,
and I feel like if they could take the LGMs, which are really just a Pizza Planet construct, and have it in that show. Why couldn't there be some sort of other Pizza Planet construct in this show?
Yeah, it's some kind of intergalactic.
That's all I'm saying. So I would imagine that it's gonna be. You're gonna see the truck. We're gonna be in. It's gonna be in. I can't wait. I'm pumped, dude.
I feel like they're gonna have like dehydrated pizza. That's like Pizza Planet branded or something like that. Like they can have the little dehydrated ice cream that's the slime. Oh no, there it goes. Oh no!
That ice cream was terrible. I remember being a child and being so excited to get astronaut ice cream, and it's just basically dehydrated toothpaste, dude.
It's chalk. It's chalk. Yeah. Did you ever have? Speaking of weird flavors, let's talk about very briefly. I know. I'm like looking at the clock, going, how much time?
It's small.
I know. Yeah. I know. You're running a tight ship, Sean. You're running a tight ship. Did you ever? I remember when I was little, we had, I don't know if it was a sample size, it might have just been something for like toddlers. I remember when I was like 4 or 5, my parents we tried it, and I think it only lasted like a week that we had it, because you had like mint wintergreen toothpaste, and I remember that there was a brand. I'm gonna look it up now. I'm gonna make some clickety clacks over here. I have a vivid memory of like a chocolate toothpaste. And it tasted terrible. It was not. It wasn't. It was like pure, artificially flavored chocolate. Yeah, oh my God, it is. Yep, that's the thing. Tanner's Tasty Paste. Tasty Paste. What a terrible name.
Mom was taking a risk for you on that one.
Yeah, I don't. I remember it was just like a small thing, and I remember it was not good. And like, you're not supposed to. Toothpaste isn't something you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to just feel refreshed, which is why mint is perfect.
I'll be honest, man. Like, I thought that it tasted. I remember having the Sesame Street toothpaste as a kid, and it tasted delicious. It was like bubblegum flavor. Oh, you better believe I'm swallowing out. Gulp mine. At least sorry, Mom. Just look Mom dead in her eye without blinking.
That's some real Elmo energy. It's some real current state of affairs 2022 chaotic Elmo energy.
Elmo says I'm gonna drink it. Rocco's gonna use the toothpaste. Rocco,
I can't even do it. My voice dropped so.
Rocco can suck it. Rocco's a rock.
All right. let's get to it, dude. So this week we covered Finding Dory, which is a phenomenal movie, and it's got a huge following because you got to imagine there's so many people who have a calling to the ocean, and I think Finding Nemo we covered it, a spectacular job of showing the magic that is under the water, this whole other world. We're all excited for this new Avatar. The new Avatars to come out and see what James Cameron's idea of what underwater is. I promise you, he watched Finding Nemo to get some inspiration. I promise, because it does such a phenomenal job of showing you the wonder that is underwater.
Yeah.
And this one, what's cool about it is we're about, I think it's like 10 to 13 years later, 10 to 15 years after the first one. And I'm pretty positive it's 13. I'm pretty positive. And with that, you have so much advancement in technology, so much more that they can do. And so I was very excited before watching the movie just to see, like, I wonder what they're going to have that's going to be, like, just earth-shatteringly changed. Because, like, with the last one, you get a dinosaur, we have this really incredible realism. You know what I mean? It's just, like, it's hard to even watch sometimes. It's hard to look at.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wonder how they're going to apply that to the ocean next, And then besides that, I was really wondering how what kind of themes, because The Good Dinosaur, as much as it kind of, I think, fell flat in theaters and kind of it didn't get the greatest reception as it could have, it did, however, have a phenomenal story and, like, just a great, there were so many good, like, characters that moved plot and everything, and it was a bare bones thing. There wasn't a bunch of over fluff to it besides the beginning. But once we get into it, I like the way, like the plot devices, I like the way the movie moves. I like the overall themes of the movie. I think they're all positive and make me feel good, even though they make me feel sad. And so I was excited to see how this movie is going to follow up to that.
I think it was really neat, while you were talking away, I got 13 years. You're right on the dot, 2016. I think one thing that's really interesting with any of the sequels, and I think they've talked about it before. They talked about it with, like, Monsters U. They talked about it with each of the Toy Story films, is that the maintaining the look while updating it, while making it so it's not so jarring. Like, I think if you were to go from Toy Story to Toy Story 4, it might be, like, real kind of, like, jarring how, like, sharp everything is and
definitely.
stitches and stuff. But with Finding Dory, I think what's funny is, like, watching it, like, I didn't watch Finding Nemo into Finding Dory. I would watch Finding Dory. And, I think they kind of, like, I don't want to say they dialed back the realism. I think they just they weren't going for photorealism. They still designed everything based on, like, the principles of Finding Nemo. So if anything, it is just more vibrant. Just some of the light shots and just some of the things, just some of the water shots. You're just like, oh, it looks like they just superimposed them into actual footage, and you're like, oh, that's rendered.
Well, I'll say we'll probably cover more of it as we cover more of the movie, but a lot of the movement in technology is exactly what you're saying. It's lighting in the water, and the amount of extra, like, noise in water. You know what I'm saying? Not audible noise. I'm talking visual noise. The way there's just specks and things moving in the water. The way that light can be bent and refracted and bent and all kinds of things from the top of the water being near it and then being in tanks and everything. And then also there's so much more we'll talk about of them being a fish breaking the surface of water, which for rendering is incredibly difficult. Because at that point, you're teetering with exactly what we're talking about, which is the bending of light, and having to also move with water and make sure that they're both acting congruently and not breaking laws of physics. And it's beautiful what they do. It's gorgeous. So really excited to see all that. We open up with just, like, the most adorable Dory. Who, like, immediately has your heart, This is pre all the, I don't want to get into any stuff, but it's pre all the Ellen stuff, so that everyone's as on Ellen's side as possible. So when it comes out, we're all super excited to see her movie, and then they give her the most adorable. If you thought Mike Wazowski was adorable, get ready. I
Yeah,
think it was a wonderful move. It's just like the Porgs, like some people hate it, some people love it. Look,
Mhm.
adorable all the way through.
I think what was really funny with the introduction of her family, in addition to the casting, I thought designing the Papa Tang, to
Hmm
Charlie Tang, to
hmm
be to have a receding hairline as
Dude,
a
how
fish.
do they do that? I'm staring at it still, trying to figure out like how.
You're like, oh
So
yeah,
good.
that works. Yeah, I can dig it. Um, it made you understand like the like supportive family environment she was in, considering that
Hmm
she was a an aquarium fish. I think
Yeah.
that's an interesting twist, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, the let's see, I'm
Hmm.
um, looking at the notes here where it forgets hide and seek like that, like the countdown, the
You
slow
just,
countdown.
dude,
You know it's
3
coming.
seconds
Yeah,
gone, gone. And all
worse
I'm
than a
thinking at
goldfish.
this point is straight up forgetting our 51st dates. That's
Mhm.
all I'm thinking. Is I'm just going forgetful Dory.
Um, you noted the undertow song, which I think Dory is full on embracing the I guess teenage spirit a little early when he's let's go.
That was
When
so
we
good.
heck no, let's
Let's
go. No, no,
go.
no. Um,
Um,
yeah, just and then and I think what's neat too is I like that it answered the question of like how far into the future is this from the previous film, and it's like 1 year later, like
Yeah, like it
they
takes you right up to like it's just basically Dory over and over again asking for help. This is where we
Mhm,
kind of get where I think one of the first common themes are trying to teach us.
mhm,
Because the first scene, they're always Pixar is notorious for kind of telling you what's going to happen in the whole movie. But in
yeah,
this one, I think it kind of takes a second longer in that the first scene you see how important family is, and that's what I
mhm,
think they want the theme to be in this movie. But also, I think what's crazy is immediately after Dory gets lost, she's asking for help, and nobody's really giving it to her. Like the
yeah.
first people kind of try to, but they lose sight of her, and then after that, no one's really. And it's that
They're
whole thing you learn in psych class about how like when somebody hurts themselves in a crowd, they're less likely to find help than when they
yeah,
hurt themselves alone,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
only a
that
stranger goes by.
and it makes you really feel for Dory. You don't. I think what's interesting is that it answers the questions that you would have like from Finding Nemo, where we're like, how did this fish get to where she was if she was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of walking around, and you're like, oh, she literally was just like just
Well, we don't cover
wandering.
how long it took, but it's
Yeah.
sad because like she forgets what she's looking for.
Hmm.
She's just asking for help at this point.
Hmm.
She's now gone into teenagehood or whatever you want to call it, into adulthood, and has no
Hmm.
idea what she's missing until we get to our cut scene of 1 year later. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I like the way the way they go back and forth. They give her the "That's So Raven" treatment.
Just misses the theme song and just needs needs the the sarcastic
The black
dad
best friend. What? Oh,
sipping
I'm sorry.
coffee. Sorry.
Come on, Pixar. You could have called. That's all I'm saying.
That's so Dory. Da, da, da. She's like the opposite of that. So Raven, though. She's like she doesn't
I
remember
don't know
anything. She just
what's
gets
gonna happen.
she gets visions, and she's like, "Yo, something means something." See, that's there. Okay, we're getting on the we're getting. Sean, mark my words. I'm going to develop this into something. We need to do a movie where it's about a psychic who's also an amnesiac. It's like I saw something. It means I had a
It's like,
vision. I don't know what it means. One of you was there. I don't know what my relation to you is there.
it's like, what was it? Who are you?
Who are you? Here's what I remember. That's what's going to happen. Something's going to happen to you.
Oh man.
I need to call out someone who's listening in. Noah is tuning in, and last I checked, Noah is still in Japan. Um, hope all is well out there. I know that they haven't opened the borders to tourists yet, but I'm gonna check the local time, what it is over there. I think it's like we're time traveling. We're time traveling right now in Japan. It is 9
How many
a.m.
gigawatts does it take for us to get to broadcast over there, Marco?
I know, right? He's tuning in at 9:51 a.m. on
Oh,
tomorrow. Tomorrow you got. So
wow!
I can
From
dig it.
tomorrow, that's pretty sweet, Noah.
Tomorrow. I do like the way that they used her hints, triggering thoughts that make it so that she remembers things. Because I don't think they're too obvious. They're like just like little fleeting phrases, and that's how you remember stuff. I don't, sometimes like I'll be faced with something and I'm like, I don't remember that. But then you'll get a hint of something, like a little whiff of a phrase, and you're like, oh wait, that means something. And you're sitting there like,
I agree, and it just explodes in your brain, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh my God, no! I totally was at or whatever it was.
I forgot to do
understand
this. What did I do
100%.
last night? What was I saying? Well, you see, you're talking about That's So Raven and how it relates to Finding Dory. I what? Oh, no.
But so like we get to see like she doesn't get the help that she's looking for so long, and then she gets to help somebody else the moment that somebody else needs her help, which is a phenomenal quality that we see in Dory, and it helps us to fall further in love with her character. But who's always helping Dory in this story? But I feel like every plot device to help somebody in this, I feel like carries a disability of some sort. Even in the last ones, when you kind of think about it, you got sharks that are vegetarians now and stuff, they're reformed. Like, it's really the thematic device they use a lot is just how, like, those who are flawed are still useful,
Yeah,
like
like everyone's unique, different abilities. Everyone has their differently abled. I'm
what
sure
holds you back might also help hold somebody else up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's character in the last one, how like the way he's meant to bring Nemo forward and show you like, hey man, even with a bum fin, you're gonna be cool. You know what I mean? You could lead the pack if you want to.
Someone needs to do that audio. Have you seen the new Spider-Man? Has anyone seen the new Spider-Man?
Oh man, is it too early to give spoilers to the new Spider-Man?
No,
I don't know. It's been out for a while, man.
Yeah, I think it's been out long enough. We're gonna hold for like a second. Warning: Spider-Man spoilers again. I think next week will be outside of the statute of limitations for that. I would just love for someone to be like to just overlay the audio and like when Nemo gets out of I don't know, when he like throws the little rock into that's some trick you got there.
That's some trick you got there, Nemo.
That's some trick you got there, Nemo. Gosh. Oh, I didn't know Willem Dafoe was going to turn. His name is Dafoe, of course. His name's not DeFriend. His name was Willem DeFriend.
That's an old meme, dude. That's an old one.
But I love
That's
that.
an old one. That's good. So where are we at with this whole thing? So yeah, I just thought it was kind of a trip how like you're gonna see that more and more throughout this movie, especially. I kind of feel like I'm gonna say it now. We haven't moved too far in the movie yet, but a lot of this movie just kind of feels like the first movie rehashed with a new ending, and I like the ending a lot, and I like the first movie, so I'm not. But I have my issue with this would be that is the same as my issue with what's the Last Jedi or whatever it is, the first, or what's the Star Wars? What's episode 9?
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. That's it's like my issue with that too. You know what I mean? It's like it just kind of feels like all we're doing is callbacks here.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is that like while like it's less grand scale, and a lot of the first film definitely dealt with like internal conflict. I think this one more so, where it's definitely about like getting over a lot of things, fear and maybe just like cautiousness. And you pointed out too in the notes that like Marlin's kind of unchanged. Like I think Marlin is at the age of a fish where he's not going to really he softened his edges, but he's still kind of like a buzzkill.
He can be manipulated. You can make him realize that he's wrong after he's been wrong, but he still jumps at the wrong decisions.
He's a little bit of a downer, and there's a couple times I'm like, bro, like what? It's been a year. You know
Yeah.
what the
Dory's
gist
been
is.
Dory for a while now.
Yeah.
Nemo is capable. Like I don't know. It bothered me
It's in.
sometimes.
Yeah, and I think like I guess that's part of like the conflict of it, where you're like, come on, man, like
Well, that's
you
my
know
thing though.
better.
Is that
Yeah.
that's what bugs me is that it's basically turned into Finding Dory and Finding Nemo. It's the perfect name for this movie because it really is just, hey, instead of we're looking for Nemo, this time we're looking for Dory.
Mhm.
And instead of showing us, hey, we can make a fish travel across the world, now
Mhm.
we're gonna make it a 5 minute journey to California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which was kind of, I don't know, that part kind of bugged me too. It didn't seem like they had to go very far to get to Cali. And maybe
It's
they're
really
really close. Maybe
yeah.
they are. I don't know. I didn't research that part. So that could be
Morro
me.
Bay to Australia is pretty.
But they weren't in Australia.
Oh,
They
right.
had to
Good
take
point.
the
Good
Eastern
point.
Australian current.
Oh,
So
yes.
I don't know where they are exactly, you know?
Good point. Yeah, the mid ocean, but still, yeah. To get to Morro Bay is.
Just the fact they travel there so quickly. I
Yeah.
did dig, like, like I liked the squid scene. It was sick. And if we're gonna cover the squid scene, we gotta stop, pause. I spent a good probably 10 minutes looking. No, it's not probably a good 5 minutes looking for the truck in this scene,
Mhm.
knowing that it was there, and
Yeah.
going and trying to go with no help, just going, okay, I know it's here. I gotta
It's
just find
fast.
it. It's quick, dude.
It's
We went by
very
3 times.
So when I saw it, I say it every time where it's like we're getting to the point where I remember more where I was when I was watching this. I saw this movie when I was up in San Francisco, and I remember like scouring it, and I remember I told myself, I'm like, okay, the trend has been that it's been towards the beginning. So I'm telling myself it's probably going to be within the first 20 minutes. And then as soon as I saw that they were like tankers and stuff, I was like, it might be in here. And I'm like, and then I was like,
Trying.
yeah. But then
Did you catch it first time?
I did. Yeah.
Oh,
And
flex.
I did spend the rest of the film though thinking that the entire time they were on the freeway, that every single taxi cab was potentially one. And I thought maybe they would throw a second one in.
I thought so. Why not? It'd be easy to put one in there.
Yeah.
They're in California, why not? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
It just makes sense. Also too, the giant squid scene definitely played up my I would say of all of the ocean's creatures, like squid, they're just like squid, and we'll get into octopi later, but like squid, the concept of like, have you ever read up on Humboldt squid and how
Dude, I
like
have no fear of squid because we got to cut squid open when we were like in 6th or 7th grade. I feel like I dominate that.
I don't know.
What are they? They're not cutting me open. We're chilling. But I guess a giant squid is different. Way different. And that beak is intimidating. The little, like, how it just be, I don't know, that's gross.
You got to look up, if you're near a computer, I just went into darkness because I have the dark mode on. I need you to look up Humboldt Squid, HUMBOLDT squid. I can't remember. I don't think they're specifically
they're as big as a person. They're 6 feet tall.
Yeah, they
may grow to 5 feet tall. Wow.
Yeah. And like I can't remember where their migration is, but there's a time of the year where like you're not supposed to be in the water because there's just so many of them around, and they just. But the concept.
Have you ever been? Well, I'm sure you have, over in the harbor in Long Beach when the moon jellies come in.
Oh yeah,
that's the best time. It's the coolest. It's like I want to near my birthday. So I want to like late May, early June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I worked at the Boy Scout camp, there was this one area where we knew there was like a little area within like the houses and the canals where they would always sit, and we would just kind of sit there and watch them.
Yep.
Do we got to do like another kayaking excursion?
We should.
We'll do.
My lady's got a paddleboard too, so we can all just go out in the water one of these days. This Humboldt squid is gnarly. That's wild. That squid scene was a flex for the animators for sure. The colors in it very vibrant, real cool. Mm-hmm. We get to see some really cool lighting kind of things going in and out of the cargo containers and everything, you know. Mm-hmm. But I would say like wasn't incredibly impressed. Besides that, like just because right after that, bam, Sigourney Weaver, which was hilarious. They got me with Sigourney.
The whole kelp forest scene and the depth of that definitely showcases one of my other like apprehensions of doing any kind of scuba diving where it's just like there's this infinite distance, but you can't see past a certain point. And like my parents, they scuba dove. They did scuba diving
Scuba
on the
doo.
coast. Scuba
Your
doo.
parents, well, your dad was Scuba Steve, wasn't
Yeah, he used to do a lot of like he did a lot of they did a lot of stuff adjacent to like animal marine mammal training and stuff like that. And so like that kind of environment, they're familiar with, and I heard a lot of stories about like fish that would swim up on them real quick because they're in their environment, they can move
he?
a lot quicker than you'd expect. So now we get to the surface, I would say.
Yep.
And we get a wonderful showcase of the full power of Pixar's rendering. And like they're doing daylight, reflections on water, and there's kelp, and there's fish, and there's
we
sea
have
lions.
water. We have water drying on skin, water already dried, water on rocks that's just gotten there. There's all kinds of stuff that's just a challenge everywhere.
And it's
mind you, there's one other flex that we kind of skipped over that's beautiful, and that would be the Stingray Migration.
Oh yes.
Where I love when they do the joke and they just leave it.
It just doesn't go into anything. I was in an attempt to create content to build buzz for this episode. I was trying to figure out.
I'm gonna end the entire episode on that, Marco. Where
there's I was trying to figure out a way to like what would be a funny song for him to like transition into, like just from like a death metal scream, and I was trying like System of a Down, I was trying all these different ones, and I I'm not steeped in screamo and heavy metal to know the more longer noted holds, but yeah, nothing like a good sea shanty, nothing like a good I mean, Sean, you're more musical than me. The song they were singing, that was kind of a ensemble shanty.
It was cool feeling. It was great. I was trying to figure out the rhythm of the song while it was going on, trying to figure out how I could sing along with it, because I watch all my movies with subtitles because I can't hear anything. And so I'm sitting there watching. I was like, "Well, these are some sweet rhythms they got going on over here." I didn't know how they're going to fit all these syllables into and they do it. It's wonderful, and it seemed like it'd be a fun. To be in the room when they recorded that, I'm sure would be a phenomenal feeling.
Nothing like Community chorus.
Dude, I love me some choir.
Yeah. The amount of the amount of Stingray in that migration is insane. And just the way it moves, like it's this big
and they're not colliding. Like, Pixar takes their time with this kind of stuff.
No phasing through.
It was sweet looking, because to this point we've got one Stingray, and they've got a herd of Stingray all moving within inches of each other, which is what they would do. Oh, so cool. And I like the idea of the undertow, like that was our first memory coming back. I like the way the undertow sweeps them back. It's a real thing. I mean, from like Boy Scouts and all that stuff. Like, riptides are real. And
riptides are gnarly. I've never been caught in one, but I've seen like the effects like on like video, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's intense.
I feel like go ahead.
Oh no, I lost my train of thought.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've been in some riptides where like I've ended up offshore and like probably an extra like 20 to 50 feet, but I've been moved away from my point probably a good like football field, if not more. I've had those kind of riptides where you're just pulled sideways all the way down the beach. That's scary. That's just as scary, because if that starts pulling you backwards too, you start getting worried. And then sometimes there's shells and stuff.
I think like the only state of panic I would say I've ever had like in the water is I was at Catalina, and I was on a Boy Scout trip, and we were in kayaks, and we were like out like pretty far away from shore. They were just like, "Here, take these kayaks and don't die." And we went, and we were we're goofing off as you do, and I fell out of the kayak, and I just remember like the water was so clear, there was no foam, there was nothing. And so you look down, and once the water kind of like, you get your bearings, you look down and you realize like, oh, it's 100 feet down, 70 feet down, and it just feels like the opposite of falling, and you're just like, I'm floating, but at any moment I could drop something, and it could just, and it was this interesting feeling. I could see fish, little Garibaldis, the fearless fish, official fish of California.
Would you go cliff jumping if we went to like Hawaii or something like that?
It depends. I feel like I would like to. I also know that I am incredibly accident prone.
When we went to Costa Rica, I booked this on a excursion, and like mind you, Costa Rica is not going to Mexico. It's a little bit more fly by the seat of your pants entertainment, if you will. And so I booked an excursion with off-roading in the jungle and what was the other one? And zip lining, right? And the zip lining we did first, and mind you, like they take you in this like tractor pulled trailer. So you're in this trailer and you start going up the mountain. And you go up the mountain, like first two switchbacks like this, second one's like this. And then the next one you go up, mind you, like Costa Rica, it rains all the time. The next one you go up, is like this, right? And the next one you go up is like this.
It just keeps you.
And before you know it, you're like this, and you're straight up just going up a mountain. You're like at the top of a mountain. Like Marco, I'm not trying to mess with you. We were. It was like Garibaldi kind of stuff. You know, we're at the top of this mountain, and I'm sitting there with all the guys, and nobody knows what to expect. They've shown us like what our zip line thing is. You know, our material, our equipment. And the thing looks this big. That's our little piece of metal that goes over the zip line. And I've been on some good ones where it's like 2 or 3 zips on, like you know, and not what this is.
Just
they
single
glove
pulley.
and say go. Yeah. And so we go, and we're in line, and we're all lining up who's gonna go first. And I just think like if anybody backs out right now, we're all going back down in that tractor, and I can't have that. And so I just strap up and peace, dude,
down the way.
So Marco, I'm saying I would do that to you for sure. If
we were throw me on a zip line. I do want to do like some of the, I guess, the tamer zip lines. Like I do want to do the zip line at like Fremont Street, the Slotzilla one. I think that would be fun. I've seen people get stuck on it though. I think that's really fun.
It's not scary though. You know what I mean? Like it's fun.
Cliff jumping though, it depends. I don't know. It's I think like once you get higher than like 20 feet, I think I would start to worry. Like when I
hear you.
Like a little taller than the high dive. Like high dive,
you know,
me a lot.
I've never been one to be worried about cliff jumping at all. I've always had a really good time cliff jumping. I think the highest done is probably about 60-ish feet or so. And like, it was a great time. I know that the second time I did it, I was really confident. And I went off and I jumped and I went like this and I punched myself in the chin.
No.
And that sucked, you know, I was all swollen. But like, besides that, the only bad time I've seen anyone have on those was Will when he dislocated his shoulder. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I got my gimpy arm. I got my collarbone that still gives me trouble.
Whenever I'm worried, Marco, about that kind of thing, I just
what do you do?
What would Dory do?
Dory would cliff jump.
She totally would.
Someone just needs to draw like Dory, the fish is flying off, like with like the Italian or like the Mediterranean
off a waterfall. Couldn't you see it? Just poof.
And
being graceful too. I can see it. So we have all that going down. We got all this beautiful rendering of breaking the water and everything. We're getting introduced to the sea lions and Idris Elba. And who was the other one? Do you remember?
Stand by. I forgot.
They were both on. I want to say they were both on The Wire or something like that together.
Probably. Oh, Dominic West. Yes, Rudder.
Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Called
it. And so we get introduced to them as well as Gerald, who is hilarious. And it's effed up that how much, but it's so true in so many ways. You might have a little brother. Or like, you know, I don't know. There's a person that comes to mind like in high school. I want to say his name.
Don't say the name, but I know what you're talking about. He'd hang out. You'd let him hang out. Hey, we need your bucket. But it's like when someone
get out of here.
But here's the thing, though, is like at least Gerald is useful. At least Gerald has a bucket to offer you.
I
Our
see.
guy didn't
I'm
even
glad
have
that-
said he had
I'm
the
glad
best
that-
bucket out
Marco,
there.
you're making me happy. You know what I'm talking about. You know
That
who
dude
I'm
didn't even
talking
have a
about, buddy.
bucket. He said he had the
I'm
best bucket ever.
cracking
Didn't have a
up.
bucket.
And then they charged 300 buckets to his credit card. Anyways,
Hey.
so what happened was, so we had Gerald, who follows our theme that we keep on seeing of people who have some sort of disability or seem like they don't have anything to bring to the table, but always have something. And what does Gerald have? He's got the bucket.
The bucket.
You know, and so we see Gerald once. They get him to get off the rock, and it's hilarious. That's how seals are, yo. They're so like that.
Sea lions are gnarly.
Hey. You remember
yeah,
when we met the seal in Santa Cruz?
yes.
Simba the sea lion?
We took story time. So when I started my job, I was working like probably about 2 months straight without 2 days off in a row. It was always split days off. And Sean was like, as soon as you have 2 days off in a row, call me. We'll plan a road trip. And then it came up on the schedule, and we literally, looking back, it's still insane when I do the math, because we left here at like 9. We arrived in Davis. We overshot Davis, ended up in Sacramento, and arrived in Davis at like 3, 4 in the morning, slept until 11, and then we like bounced back. We went to Berkeley, had dinner in Berkeley, ended up in San Jose, and then made it home. We did that whole loop in 46 hours.
It was a nutso.
It was an amazing
road trip.
You could not. I think what's funny is it's one of those things where like you could not replicate it if you tried. You couldn't.
No. It was a great crew of people. We had a good time.
Good
the
music.
way things great music at the time. The Gorillas were firing on all cylinders at that point in our lives. And then
Nate
also
Dogg
I
just
think
passed away.
oh my God, that he passed away like a week or two before that. I feel like
Yeah,
it was recent.
And then we had the Nate in 08 mix. It was just Plastic Beach, The Fall by the Gorillas, and the Nate Dogg remix. Because I think we would be driving for
the ability for things to kind of happen in any way and be okay with whatever was presented to us.
Yep.
I think was something that's a gift that we're not always given in life. And it was beautiful because you had your camera on the whole time, and that was really rad. Really, really rad. And it really helped to inspire what next piece of art that we did, which was the truck. You know, it's really cool. So, anyways.
On that road trip, we ended up in San Jose. We were standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean, and there happened to be a sea lion on. And the more I think about it, I don't know how that sea lion got up there. I don't know how it got off.
Because we're on a cliff, basically, on a peninsula. And if you've been to Santa Cruz, you've been to the peninsula over there where the lighthouse is at. They have it normally fenced off. And so probably about 30, 40 yards past this fence, there was a sea lion, you know? And, like, I'm not, like, some, like, you know, doucher. I'm not just going to go mess with a sea lion or anything like that. I kept my ground, and I didn't get too close to him. I didn't actually touch him. I didn't want to actually upset him. I just wanted to get some cool pictures near him. But I did position myself so that it would look as though I had my arm around him from a distance. For Marco
like Eiffel Tower, like giant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, playing with perspective.
And it
at least
still looks
20
huge. It still looks huge because it was huge. It was crazy. And then it went down the back. I mean, I just don't get how it got up. It went down the back and jumped off.
I'm like I'm like trying to figure out the map, but anyway.
It's like a 400-pound creature, dude.
Yeah, they're crazy. My dad got bit by a sea lion once, and that's not a Monty Python joke. Like my dad got.
So is your dad sea lion man? The man who goes around from Cape Town to Cape Town saving small children from big waves?
I know, right?
Sea lion man?
Yeah, the more that I look at this, I'm like looking at it. If you look at the Santa Cruz Surfing Museum, you'll see the peninsula, the lighthouse point. And I don't know how for the life of me it got up there. Because like, we'll talk about this later.
Maybe that was the sea lion. It's like a Bubba Chubbs moment right here.
That sea lion it's the one.
And he might have taken your finger, but I got his eye.
That sea lion is like the Matrix Neo version, and it just like as soon as we left, you just hear like Rage Against the Machine, and
it takes off flying.
Come on.
All right, let's get back to the movie a little bit, man.
That sea
so we
lion
see all these sea
somewhere
lions.
the power scale.
Huh?
That sea lion falls somewhere on the power scale.
If he's doing that, then yeah, for sure. If he's flying off into the distance, I don't think Pixar animated that. Find me one clip where there's the system of
Sea lion flying through the
Sea
air.
Lion, Neo, in the Matrix. You show me the clip, and he'll make it. I promise. Because we're gonna get there. All right. So we meet the sea lions. We meet Gerald. We find out a little bit more about Sigourney Weaver and that she's not actually in the movie. She's just a voice. And it's upsetting, all right? Because I'm over here waiting for Pixar Weaver. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I think that she's going to be stacked or I have bets on if she's going to be more stacked than Mrs. Incredible, because I do. But I'm just saying that it was a bummer that she wasn't in the actual movie, you know?
That's the second time she portrayed a like disembodied voice. I think she was the announcer on Wall-E.
Oh, yeah.
I think she was the voice of the
You're
ship.
Right.
So she has this thing for being a disembodied voice.
Which is scary because the ship is by and large, and this is the aquarium, and that means, ooh, and you know how the Pixar everything's connected.
Yeah.
There's some real, that's actually risk. And then, let's talk, we want to talk Pixar theory. Let's take a step back. There's a theory out there about the whole, is Marlin having basically like a trauma dream? Is Nemo even real?
Oh, yeah.
And that whole opening scene of the first one, everyone dies except for Marlin, and he's just been living out this like, it's a beautiful. It's a Beautiful Life? What's that Russell Crowe movie?
Oh, A Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind. And he's living out that kind of a scenario where he's having a hard time grasping reality.
There was another one that tied into the Pixar theory where they talked about how, like, if this is all the shared universe and toys are in fact sentient, that little fish toy that keeps bumping into Marlin is helping. You know, it's a fun, silly thing.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So they were able to get in to the aquarium because with a Bucket and Becky, aka Pecky.
I like Pecky. Although I do think that it was a pretty cool device to use garbage as a means to get Dory into the aquarium. That was great. It was a phenomenal piece there, just because it puts a little bit. It makes you feel even worse as an audience member because you know you're part of that. Even if you're not the person putting plastic out there, you could be doing more.
You've seen it.
You know, that's something that I'm saying to anybody who's listening. You know, even if you feel like you're not making the world a better place, you could probably help make it even if you're not making the world a worse place, you could probably help make it a better place.
Oh, yeah.
And they do a great job of using that to get Dory in there. As you said, then we get Pecky in her bucket, and we get more Marlin making terrible decisions.
Yeah.
He does the same thing he did to Dory is what he does to Pecky immediately. And this whole movie is about how these people who you don't expect are going to be able to help you can help you. And he just would have trusted that plot device, they'd have found Dory right away.
Big middle management energy from Marlin.
Dude,
like, you know, he was a frontline manager at some point in his life where it's like, you can't do that. Why didn't
Marlin get the receding hairline?
he is a fish with a furrowed brow. Do you know how stressed a fish has to be? The whole time he's just like, I can't do it. Like my lighting.
Yeah,
he's got the Worf brow. He's just like
the Worf brow. Don't get me going into some Star Trek stuff. The crowd ain't ready for the real nerd. I'll bring it out.
Oh no.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Once they get into the aquarium, she is rehabilitated and she meets Hank. I was like, Ed O'Neill. She meets Ed O'Neill as Al Bundy.
Hank is scary to start, dude.
Octopi are terrifying. I love, if there is anything on this planet that could be, it's been said, this is not a new thought, but if there's anything on this planet that could be only explained by alien intervention, it's an octopus.
I agree. It's the most alien-like creature on the planet, and I feel like the reason I'm not scared of squid is in the same way I am scared of octopus. I'm not scared of octopus, but I'm scared of them. I'm more
cautious,
wary of them, if you will. It's that the ability to change. You know, like the mimic octopus, which Hank is a beautiful and complex and wonderful creature. And it's pretty great because I literally just watched the whole like probably 45-minute documentary on octopi and how like the way they have different layers of skin and the different layers can create different colors. And because of such, because they're able to open up their pores and close them more to create these different colors, and they add them that to other layers of their skin, they can then make even more colors. They can make even more gradients of colors. And because they can open and close their pores and have that kind of control over their skin, they're able to create different rigidity to their skin, which means the texture of their skin can change.
Changes,
and it's freaking dope how Pixar's like, yeah, we took it to the next level. This fool's got full-on camouflage powers, dude. Not like, boom, kind of the lamp, like, boom, I'm the lamp.
Look at me. I'm the lamp now.
When he becomes like the pole and everything, and then all of a sudden you see the pole open its eyes, like, wait a minute, that's
Hold
rad.
on.
Yeah.
Like
or the baby flex.
Oh yeah. Terrifying octopus baby.
It was so scary.
I always think about when it comes to octopi stories. I this is one that I've always carried around, and I would look it up to see if it's true, but I think it would take me a while to find it. I always think about how there's a story of how like there was an octopus in one tank in a lab, and then there were a bunch of fish across the room, and every day the fish would disappear. One fish would disappear, and they couldn't figure out why until they put a camera, and they saw that an octopus would lift a latch, suck up water, scoot along the floor, jump into the other tank, get a breather, grab a fish, scoop up water, and just crawl back. Like, and they open jars. You ever seen an octopus open a jar?
Dude, just so you understand, that is the equivalent of us going to the moon.
You
know what I'm saying? It's the equivalent. It's going like, all right, let's do this. That's the equivalent of us finding the Titanic. That's the same thing. Just holding your breath and going to find. That's wild. Yeah, and they can fit into like it's like 2-inch spaces or something like that. Like, it's nuts. And then also their each their tentacles and everything, there's neurons in their skin. So like octopi are thought to be colorblind, right? And because of that, they're like, how are they able to see and mimic colors so well? And it's because their skin has so many neurons, they can literally see with their skin. They can see light and how it is being affected with their skin. It's wild. And not only that, the way that an octopus moves. You ever seen an octopus move, just walk across land? It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
There's no steps going or anything. It's not swimming along. It looks like it's went by almost its head, and it looks like it's hovering across the ground with just like itself congealing and stuff. It's crazy. And because of that, Pixar had their hands full. And the model they came up with, mind you, they said it took them over a year to get Hank in a workable animating state, to have a workable puppet. They said. I was watching a special on it. And because of that, in the complexities that is Hank, they were only able to fit 7 extremities onto his puppet when they were animating him to get him to the scale that they liked. And so that's why you find him to be a cephalopod, or however they call it, in the septopus. Which is a great line. I may not be able to remember things, but I can count. So that was good.
Where was I? Skim. This is probably a good spot for a break where I forget things. Long pause. Fish hospital.
So we get this whole Hank. I got you, brother. Ed O'Neill is not reaching very far for this character. He does a great job. You know, if you watch Modern Family, he's kind of playing that same, like, has a warm part to his heart, but has a cold exterior kind of a thing going on. And he's doing got the same curmudgeon attitude of Married with Children. You know, so he's playing a role in which he's pretty familiar with. But I think it's great because by the end of the movie, you really love him. Like, you really, really, like, and Dory does a great job of breaking him down to where, as an audience, he's cracked open like an egg, and we all just love all the soft stuff we're seeing, you know. And Do you know anybody who, like, you don't have to say their name or anything. You ever had an experience where, like, somebody, they tell you, watch out for so and so. You meet him and they're ice cold, but after a while you're like, that's actually you ever had an experience similar to
Of course I know him. He's me. No, it's not him.
that?
It's like,
That was a good Obi-Wan voice you put
know,
right there.
right?
Hello there.
Hello
It's
there,
me.
General Kenobi. No, I've had a lot of coworkers like that, where like when you first meet them, you're just like they have a certain way of doing things, and there's some where like it's not logical, it's not practical the way that they want things done, and then there's somewhere like, oh, okay, work now, play later, and that's it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there's definitely some folks I've worked with who are like that, where at first I felt like, oh, they don't like anybody, and then I'm like, oh no, they just don't like dumb people. Got it. I'm gonna make sure I'm not one of those dumb people.
You're not dumb. You're not a dumb guy. You're a smart guy. Be smart.
I'm the boss. It's just, and yeah, there's a lot of people like that, and it's just like how I handle those people. But
yeah, I mean,
it's
kind of a trip. I think a lot of times you find people who may have given up to certain social cues and certain social standards, but they haven't given up on life, or there's still something real precious there if you want to take the time to get to know them. And I like that lesson they were giving us, because it might be like, it could be your own grandfather, it could be anybody, and they might have this cold exterior, but it's cool when those people, when you get to see somebody who doesn't give everybody the same thing, and they show you a certain side of them like that.
Yeah,
it really shows you how valuable their personality is, because they don't give everybody their personality. A lot of people don't. I'm not one of those. My personality is on my shoulder for the most part, and so I do though have the emotional responsibility to when I recognize those people out there to water that plant, because I love to crack that shell and see. I used to go get pho at the spot. I still do. It's over in Long Beach. Pho Hung Fat. If you get the chance, Anaheim and Redondo. It's a phenomenal pho spot. They're great. And there's a server there who, for years, I've been going there for a long time. He always serves the scowl. He doesn't speak too much English. He's very good at what he does. Everything you order is exactly what you get. You've got your refills. He's good, but he's always got a scowl on. And it wasn't until we were able to break him and make him laugh that it made 2 years of telling a guy who didn't laugh at our jokes so worth it. Because we kept on trying to crack that egg. And that's what Hank is. He's just an egg. You just got to crack him, And the omelet that you see there was beautiful by the end of the movie. And you also, by the end of the movie, get to notice that Dory's memory is getting a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Real detail almost.
Well, she keeps on getting that call back now. And I know she's in a familiar place, but she's getting it over and over, and it's useful information, and she's got the whole, all of her tools are being used over and over again. She's speaking whale, you know what I mean? She's bringing people together. She's being fearless and jumping from fishbowl to fishbowl to fishbowl. She's making friends. She's just continually doing all the things that she's done, to the point where even when even when she gets reunited with Nemo and Marlin, and they go through, which I think is hilarious, the whole clam moment with Shelley. Oh God, phenomenal! You want to get me going? Tell a bad joke, and that was phenomenal. When they get back together, everybody trusts Dory. We're back at this point now where it's like, no, Dory's got it. Let's see what she wants to do. What do you mean? Your parents are here? Let's find out. And they trust her, and I got a plan. What do you mean you got a plan? Well, I'm talking to the whale. Excuse me? And there's a whale that starts talking to him in Destiny. And we just get this beautiful, like, display of all the tools that Dory has.
For some reason, I'm getting a countdown warning, which hasn't happened in a while, and I'm not sure what's going on there. But we have about 40 seconds, so we can start this up again. But okay. That's really weird.
We got to start it up because I got to hit the power scale.
Okay, So we will take a break. This is a commercial break coming up, and
I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick. I'll be back in 30
sounds
seconds
good.
anyways. How about that?
Yeah, shoot me a text once you're good to go, and we'll be right back, everybody. Sorry about that.
And I'm mildly confused because I just checked Instagram's
like 4 hours to talk. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if like maybe we accidentally like triggered something. Maybe we
Well, now we got
accidentally.
a filibuster, Marco.
I guess so.
Filibuster.
Filibuster. Now let me tell you, Sean. We're going to talk about finding Dory here.
I'm gonna read to you every sticker I have on my hydro flask. This here's a full gallon hydro flask. You better believe there's a lot of stickers.
That's like my
Sticker number
sticker
one.
box.
Don't interrupt me, Marco. Sticker number one. No, I'm just kidding.
Back to finding Dory. So we're talking about Dory's memory getting better. We're talking about the new friends and old friends. Oh, no, this is the line.
Well, not just new friends. It's new people that she's made better, because that's what she does. She's got the Midas touch. When you really think about it, she continually takes people and just shows you how good they can be. She's the Goku of this universe without the power.
Continue with our Super Saiyan theme. We got Super Saiyan Mater. We got Super Saiyan Dory.
I wish, dude. That'd be sick, dude. There's definitely some screens in this where you could get a good still to make her Super Saiyan. So I guess that kind of takes us into where we meet the two whales. We got Destiny and what was the other one's name? Bailey. Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey's a beluga whale, and Destiny is a whale shark.
Who taught Dory how to speak whale, which only makes sense why Dory says she's not the best at speaking whale, but she does. Because she's not really a whale that she learned it from. She's a whale shark. Fun fact, pretty cool. And then the whole Bailey thinking that something's wrong with his head because it's so bulbous. So good. So good.
Baby beluga.
And it's great that Dory's the key. Tells him, oh, it's like a ooh thing, and you can see everything. I don't know, I forget. It's like the best pair of sunglasses or something. The world's best pair of glasses. And it's great because she uses that tool later on to her advantage. Let me see. I guess I can kind of take us into it. Why not? Let's just go skip right. Because I want to talk about the end of the movie too, but I want to talk about these guys, and I guess we can end with the end of the movie. The power scale. We now have all of our characters, you know. There's one character who I didn't put in there, which I guess I'm going to type it out right now so I don't forget it. But, here we go.
Brooklyn Park Hoppers bought a badge. This is the first badge that has been purchased on one of our Instagram lives, so shout out to them. Thank you for that.
What did you do?
Earlier they did mention that they asked if it was the line for the Figment popcorn buckets, which I think was up to 6 hours at Disney World, which is crazy. One day, Sean, we'll
go together.
We'll have a line. We'll have a 6 hour long line.
What's your favorite ride at Disney World? All the parks. All.
Oof. I don't. Yeah. No. I
feel like there's a right answer.
There's a lot. There are a lot of good ones.
I feel like the right answer here is obviously Avatar's flying, whatever it's called.
That one's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
I did ride Expedition Everest like twice within like 10 minutes. And
that's a solid too, though.
That was pretty intense.
I think what we're trying to say is Animal Kingdom is the winner.
Yeah. Animal Kingdom, I am an Animal Kingdom convert after my second to last trip I went out there.
And their light show at the end of the whole thing is the coolest of the light shows by far. Their River of Lights, whatever it is,
that one's pretty neat.
Spectacular, dude.
Have you seen there's a new clip I will show you. They put a bunch of LEDs on Spaceship Earth, and they're doing different light shows, and the most recent one that they did.
Spaceship Earth was a bit dated. It was a bummer to see how dated it had become.
I think that there's been a lot of rumors of it getting updated in some way, which is fine. I think that'll be interesting. But the LED add-on gives them a lot more variety that they could do. They just premiered a Rainbow Connection show, like 3-minute performance of just like it's a rendition of Rainbow Connection,
I
and
almost
it's
cried
really
now
well.
just thinking about how much I love that song. I remember having a green tape.
It's a good song.
Oh,
Let's see. Song Rainbow Connection. Yep.
yep.
Let's see. Jonathan says
10 out of 10.
hello.
Oh,
Grace says hello. I'll send you the clip. I think they're probably like
I want to see it. I'm
it's really
jealous right now
good.
just knowing I haven't seen it. All right,
Yeah.
power scaling. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Marco, make up the theme song. Work on it. Okay.
I got it.
So we've got in number one, we're going to start this direction because actually, let's start with our contenders. Yeah, let's start with our contenders. We've got
Ding ding ding.
Hank. Hank the octopus. Now, he's got camouflage abilities at an expert level, as we talked about, changing the texture and the color of his skin to match just about absolutely anything. This kind of espionage level movement capabilities puts him in a tier of his own when it comes to this kind of a thing. He also can traverse just about anything due to his octopus tentacles and the suction cups on said things, as well as the ability to ink inside of water. I think in water, Hank has a lot to give. Like,
He's got the reach.
Lot.
I
I think one thing that he's truly lacking, though, Marco, which you kind of talked about here, but you didn't really say, is that he doesn't have any power. There's nothing to his character that says he can beat anybody at up or asphyxiating.
I think he'd be sent in as like a I don't know, a sleeper agent, just like in the shadows, popping poppers on people's face, you know, yoinking them to their, you know, watery death kind of thing.
I agree, and I think that it's going to be a theme that we're going to keep following. After that, we got Bailey, who's the best pair of glasses and has the echolocation, where he can literally see all around him up to a certain radius. And it's
pretty far too.
He can see through things to see things. It's pretty cool. And what I think we're kind of seeing here out of a lot of what this movie has to offer is there's great support characters. If there was an espionage team where you had Bailey over here who's able to tell you where everything's at, and you have Hank who can get in and get out undetected, they can get anything they'd want at any point. I have the utmost confidence in these two in that regard. But they couldn't murk nobody. They couldn't murk nobody.
There's no lasers, there's no fire, there's no...
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, after that, you got the giant squid who, honestly, I feel like to this point on the power scale, I think we're kind of past him. There's not much that he can do, you know, that others couldn't deal with, you know. And the last contender would be the otters with the cuddle party.
The power cuddle.
I do think this could be, honestly, it could thwart the woodcarver, at least for a moment. And that's why I feel like if these characters paired with a Mater type could tip the scale. If we had a whole, you know, Infinity War Endgame-esque kind of a movie. So the list goes: the Woodcarver at number 1, Mater at number 2, Mr. Incredible at number 3, Wally at 4, Jack at 5, Remy at 6, Syndrome at 7, Eva at 8, Buzz at 9, and Butch the T-Rex at 10 with his vanishing and teleporting capabilities.
T-Rex with teleportation. Pretty terrifying. Are we making a water-based ranking? Because obviously the strengths are all dependent on being in water and not dead. Yeah, I mean,
yes and no, because I feel like even in water, like, do you think Mr. Incredible couldn't handle the squid?
I mean, that guy was underwater for an incredibly long amount of time.
I see what you did there. I mean, Wally can handle the vacuums of space. I don't think that the water thing matters too much to the characters that are up here. You know, like even Syndrome, if you tell him he's going to have to go fight in the ocean, he's going to have the technological ability to have weapons built for that, where any of these characters, they're not going to have, you know, Hank might survive, but he's not beating anybody on this list, you know. I think the only person on the list that really could fall to any of these characters would be Butch, only because he might drown if we ever found him in water. Yeah, we learn in Land Before Time, the first one, that shark teeth, you know, they don't do well with water.
No, not at all.
So
Yeah, I would say like I don't think we really have any characters here with superhuman or super animal powers. I mean, Hank can drive a truck.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. As a support character, he's phenomenal because he did what it took 4 or 5 other toys to do. Buzz
Mhm,
Lightyear couldn't drive the Pizza Planet truck by
mhm,
himself, you know, and it took a lot more toys than just Buzz. Where it only took Hank to drive it, and it took her to tell him where to go,
mhm.
which means you
Uh,
can give him a vehicle.
yeah. Um, so I mean, I think like on the lower end, he might break like certain because he's not only he's an octopus of unique unique set of skills, I'd say.
Yeah,
Uh, but
I think he ends up on our honorable mention, but
yeah.
I don't think he makes it into the list just because I mean, like I said, he can't take anyone down. And we're looking
Mhm,
at powers here. Now, mind you, he's got a phenomenal amount of powers, but it's like you can't use them. You know what I mean? You
mhm.
can't do anything that would be if that were the case, then I would say that what's his name should be on this list. Randall. Randall
Oh
should be
yeah.
making the list
Mhm,
over Hank, if that's
mhm.
the case. But even Randall couldn't make it to kill anybody in his movie.
Yeah. um, let's see. Jumping back into the story, I'm checking to see.
Okay. At this point, we're getting to where Dory's about to. She finds out that her parents have been gone since she's been gone,
Yeah.
and she has to deal with catastrophic failure.
Mhm.
Which I don't know if you've hit catastrophic failure before in your life, but boy, oh boy, is that a hard reality to deal with.
Yeah, I think any time that if we're going from personal stories, like I think any time that I thought I've had a catastrophic failure wasn't a catastrophic failure. Like I not that like I'm perfect, but it's just like it's more along the lines of like I don't think I've had anything that's like earth-shakingly bad happen.
Well, I
And
think
I'm
that's
thankful
a
for
little bit
that.
more about the Chicken Littles of the thing, where it's like we always feel like the sky is falling, you
Hmm.
know, and but this is different because the sky fell. Her parents
Yeah.
aren't there. They've been gone.
Hmm.
They've been gone, kid. You're not gonna find them here. You've been wasting your time. Figure it
Hmm.
out, and that I I've I've felt that before where I've given everything to something and then come out on the other side and just feel like, dang, I think I just wasted all my time.
Yeah.
I think I really just messed up big
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
And the thing is like you said though, Marco, it wasn't a catastrophic failure.
yeah, in the moment it feels like it's the end of the world or something like that. Like, I mean, the past couple of years, like, I will tap lightly on this, very lightly.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, I mean, the past couple of years, like, and just like career movement, I would say like, um, there's been a lot of obstacles in that, and it just feels like this insurmountable wall, and you've got people who are commending you on your tenacity, but it's, that's the
Yeah.
equivalent of someone putting another brick on a wall saying, I really like your moxie, keep running into this wall. So but like you said, it's like we're gonna get through it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna look back and go, I'm glad I made it through it. You
Well,
know?
and that's what you're given next in this movie is you're getting
Yeah.
given perseverance because after this, Dory blacks out. We get this whole scene. Dory ends up looking for everybody, ends up in the pipes again, and back out into the open water and
Hmm.
sees the shells, and all of a sudden finds her parents.
Hmm.
And we get this moment where it's like, oh my God, this is what it's like to win.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what I think depression can feel like too, where it's just like you're just looking for a W. You're just
Just
trying to find
any little
anything.
W's you can find, the
And the
tiniest ones.
sacrifice that Dory has now made for this win is huge. And she can't
Hmm.
even convey it to her parents because she can't remember what sacrifice she just made,
Yeah.
which was which was Nemo and Marlin,
Hmm.
you know? And that's where things take a turn for the totally outrageous. And this is where the first time in the movie, kind of like where with Good Dinosaur, I feel
Hmm.
like we're at here. Now we're at the meat of the movie.
Yeah.
Not to say the beginning of the movie wasn't cool and say it didn't serve
The
to move us to
stakes,
this.
the stakes are high.
Yeah, but now it's a new movie.
Hmm.
Now we get this crazy outlandish scene of Dory trying to save everybody on a truck from
Hmm.
the ocean. Wild. And
Hmm.
it's crazy because just as wild as we think it is, her parents think twice as much so. And she has to give that really cool speech where she says, it's okay because even if I leave, I know I can find you again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so rad because I think that should hit every parent right in the feels in the sense that you've all had to let, you know, a bit of your kid go at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a beautiful feeling to know that they're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
Yeah,
pretty rad.
Yeah, just the reassurance that things are going to be fine, even though there's no constant contact or constant updates on that kind of stuff.
What's your biggest success?
Too many to count. No. I mean, it's a cop out, but like the truck is neat. I think the truck, like to not put it into to not delve into it too much. I think the opportunities that have arisen from it, just in a mix of like just skills, like being able to just like to figure out problem solving and that kind of stuff, where like I'm more
Mm-hmm.
confident in like, oh, okay, well if I can't find it, I can make it. Like I'm not like wood carving or like wood turning or anything like that, but I'm sitting there going, okay, well give me a screw and a screwdriver and a piece of wood and I'll make something of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
more confident in that and being able to take an idea from
Mm-hmm.
concept to final product, I think is something that it's a skill that's I think I have. I don't know.
Dude,
maybe
you
being
got
able
it.
being able to
Man.
find the right people
Yeah.
to help. You know, the truck wouldn't be what it was without the team. So,
That's cool.
but
That's
then too,
definitely
like,
a success, man.
yeah, and I think like there's a couple other things like photography related that I've worked on that are similar. Just
Yeah.
finding the will to keep going. How about you? Because I feel like you've got.
I think that was a great example, though, Marco, because that really ties into what Dory's going through. Where it's like you said, you know how to find the right people to do such things. You do have certain skills that you are in abundance of. You know what I mean? And you do know how to take a concept and turn it into reality, which is something that Dory knows how to do on like a fast twitch level. Like they said, what would
Yeah.
Dory do? Like she'd probably just look at the first thing, just make it happen immediately, and that's what she does. You know. And that's you don't do that per se, but you have your own set of skills, you know, Liam Mason's.
Certain skills.
I'd say like for me, the biggest success I have is probably my relationship with my father, and I say that wholeheartedly and proudly, and just because I mean, like, gosh dang it, like I don't want to cuss about it. I'm so happy and over the moon with how much we love each other and how good things are between us, you know, because that's not everybody has it, and it's not always been that way, and it is. I would hope that it's going to remain this way, you know. And I value it because I know what it's like to not and to have an abundance of relationship with my father. I am very proud of it. I look at it as a smashing success, and I feel like there's always been a lot at stake in that kind of in any relationship that deals with family. There's so much at stake. And it's a trip how like it just opens up everything when you find these kind of successes, when you have this perseverance, your whole world flips, and it's like the negative shade on the world goes away, and you really do have this invincibility cloak on, and while you have these feelings, you know, and it's pretty rad, you know, because I'm sure like even for you, like after we took the truck to Pixar, there was a certain high that carried off into everything. Where I felt good at everything I did for a while, you know, and that's what perseverance can bring you, you know, is energy.
Yeah, and it fuels you to do more things, to just keep trying other things and applying it elsewhere.
Yeah, so that seems crazy at the end,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You got Hank, who is being another curmudgeon again, but he's also opened up, cracked like an egg. Dory's told him all about how he's not going to Cleveland; he's going to the ocean with her. He tells her, sorry, kid, too late. I was going to say yes, but there's no way out. And she says there's another way. Says there's no other way. And she points at the ceiling where there is, in fact, another way.
I think one thing that's worth noting, too, with the final chase scene that's really funny is on the back of the truck when it flips end over end. If you look, one of the bumper stickers is "How's my driving?" Ha ha ha.
Yep. It's
Which
pretty
is
rad.
such a great
Callback. Yeah. Loved it, dude.
Mhm.
It's also where we get the Otters, the cuddle party, who that's why I said earlier, you know, this whole movie doesn't have anybody who could take anybody out in the power scaling mix, but there are people who, if utilized together, could be great tools. I don't know if we have anybody else that's close like that on our list. I think Randall would make the list now after watching this movie in the honorable mentions of people who could, at the very least, help or be in the mix if we had super teams or something going on. We get the cuddle party. You get Hank's incredible driving capabilities, like incredible.
Yeah.
He didn't crash until they wanted to crash. And I like the whole Dory saying, "I have a crazy idea," and him just being down, and they Thelma and Louise it, and they jump over the cliff, and it's just beautiful. I see trees of green. Wonderful, wonderful, like just
Musical
every
choices.
Pixar movie has a good 45 seconds that will live on for their super reel, and that I feel like was this one. Yep, you get Hank, Dory, and some Louis Armstrong, and a nice, good old car crash.
And then everybody goes home and live happily ever after, and you know, it's neat that they talk about like the drop off, like why is it every time that we go to this part like something has to leave, and then at the end, you know, it feels complete. It feels, you know, they made it home, everything's fine.
How good is Hank as the teacher?
Yeah.
So good, so good.
As an assistant teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just thought like I'm checking the notes, or it just, yeah, it was fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
It just, I think like
movie.
rewatching these, it's just like they're all just, I feel like you could put all of them on in the background of an office and just let them run, you know?
I agree. I'd rank this. I wouldn't put this near the top of anywhere on Pixar's list. I'd put it near wherever Monsters U lands. This lands somewhere around that area. I wouldn't put it in their top. I wouldn't put it in their top 5. That's for sure. But it might crack like the bottom of the top 10, if not below that. Since I mean, there's 24 movies. Yeah, it's probably in the upper half. Yeah.
I'm checking to see what was the. Oh gosh, we got to talk about the short that came before this movie.
What was the short before this one?
Have you seen Piper?
Which one's Piper?
The little bird. Little bird. And
Let me see. Oh wait, yeah, on the beach. Yes, love this short.
Great.
I saw it again in whatchamacallit? Where's from Disney World? Where did we just talk about? At Disney World, yeah. Wonderful short. Wonderful. Beautiful. And then like you talk about high res.
Yeah.
Wow.
Come bring it back to cutting edge, like amazing, beautiful rendering. Yeah, Piper, what a fun little movie.
It really
a little short. And what I think is nice is it's one of the shorts that actually had like a fair amount of merch come out of it. You could get like a little Piper pin. You could get I think somewhere I bought one where it's like someone did it. The Pixar Studio Store had a like a, not a lithograph, but like a print where it was the Piper as like an Audubon. So it was like a bird, and it had like the little had the grass and stuff. But yeah, that's a.
I wanted to show you. There was another one that I saw. So that's a great short, and it was wonderful, and it does do a great job of showing you like how sea foam on the sand all works together, and they do like sand granules, really just wild stuff in that are beautiful. But I remember when I was Disney World, I'd seen that, and I'd also seen another one. I can't remember what it was called right now. I was trying to look it up quickly. It was a 3D short, and it was Mickey Mouse, and like it was like a Steamboat Willie-esque, like that kind of a time. But
Get a Horse.
Yes.
Get a Horse. That was great.
Oh my gosh, the realism that was in that 3D was so spectacular. Like I was sitting going, dude, it's like they're really right there. It felt like I was 9 years old at Universal Studios watching T2 Terminator Judgment Day, and it was so rad. Oh, cool. So that's all I got for you. That's what I was talking about.
I think I keep forgetting to do this every time. I'm like, I know a movie's coming up next. I believe it's Cars 3, which will be fun to talk about.
Because
But
life
from
is a
what
highway. This is where they finally let Jesus take the wheel, and they all drop off a cliff, right? Just kidding.
yeah, Jesus. If I had a car that had a autopilot, I would name it Jesus. Jesus, take the wheel.
Consider the wheel taken, sir.
And it's got Michael Caine's
It's
voice.
Michael Caine's voice.
Michael Caine as Jesus is hilarious to think about. Just do it. Think about the hair.
Blessed
Michael
are the
Caine's
cheese
voice.
makers.
Just like, we're quickly approaching. I know we said this last time, but we are quickly approaching catching up to
Oh, yeah.
because we after Cars 3 next week, we have 6 movies left,
That's true.
and yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
We'll have to put
the
up a nice little poll to see what next series we should tackle or what we should talk about next.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely need to bring in guest hosts. I think Billy Boards needs to come in. We got to
Oh, I'm
figure.
in for that. I'm in for that.
We just need to do like a skating episode where we just talk about crazy. Remember the time when you were sketching off of the back of the Pizza Planet truck?
Dude, down Hollywood Boulevard? Yes, I do.
How many people can say that? How many people can say that, man?
Saw it.
Here I am, doing everything.
So we don't know what's coming up after Lightyear, though.
Yeah,
I wonder what will be next.
I think they're well. What's good too is we could probably cover. We've kind of covered the shorts as they've gone through, and we also probably could cover some of the original stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus or will be coming out pretty soon. Little short programs. Those can probably be all handled in one day. Yeah, we'll figure out a direction to go. But I think this is a good place to stop. For those joining in, hello. We are wrapping up Finding Dory. But if you got any last minute questions, now is the time to voice them. I will stall a little bit.
I'll stall too. Want to see how I stall?
Yeah, stalling.
I do it in
Did you ever
song.
play Top
I do
Gun?
I stall by using song, actually. The song I want to sing starts like this.
Oh yeah, that's how we're gonna. And that's how this is gonna end. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.